Got to take a moment here and just bask in the glory of sweeping the high price, the big market, LA Dodgers and Brewer fever. Man, it is on fire. Get to all that coming up next as the Brewers are closing in on the Cubs. All that and more coming up next in this edition of Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What a great summer it's been for Brewers baseball so far. Remember, right around Memorial Day, Brewers were floundering, couldn't get out of their own way, and they won a big game over that Memorial Day holiday weekend against the Pirates. And that kind of kickstarted them because they were, 4-5 games under the 500 mark. And since then, they have just been the team that we saw last year, the team that goes out and has one of the best pitching staffs in Major League Baseball, a team that has the best bullpen in baseball, the team that has a rock-solid defense, making great plays all over the place. Those are the Milwaukee Brewers that we fell in love with last summer. We thought that maybe they had gone. They had deserted us. Where did they go? Was that year a one-year wonder, regular season wonder, 93 wins? But here they come back, and they've appeared again. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along. Host of Locked On Brewers, my third year, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin. And I'll tell you, I love doing this podcast. And I know you all know that. But especially when we have times like we're having right now, I mean, this is going to be a great summer for Brewers baseball. It already has, and more to come. The Brewers are closing in out of the Chicago Cubs. I know Cub fans who watch this podcast, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. We got the better manager. You may have spent some money on some talent over there and made some moves in the offseason, like the LA Dodgers spent all this money on high-priced talent and all that. Yet the Brewers, here they are, 13 games over the 500 mark and closing in on the Chicago Cubs, a game and a half out. Man, that was fun. Holding the Dodger offense to 4 runs over 3 games. 4 runs over 3 games. Just incredible what this pitching staff has done. And I had someone message me on Twitter, said they were watching the MLB Network on Wednesday morning and said they were talking about the Dodgers going through all sorts of injuries and this and making every excuse possible for the LA Dodgers. I don't know. Last time I checked, 3 of their top 4 hitters in that lineup are former MVPs. All right. Brewers are going out there and winning with guys like Isaac Collins, who nobody heard of before. Bryce Turang, Sal Frelick, guys who are 5'6". All right. Caleb Durbin, a shortstop who they just benched a little while ago. Christian Yelich, who's coming back off of back surgery. A first baseman this season who was in the minor leagues, who was so bad that the White Sox didn't want him anymore. And he came up huge in all 3 of these games. Huge in all 3 of these games. I mean, we can go on and on. And the Brewers, nobody on that lineup. Net lineup is going to the All-Star game. Nobody at all. 13 games over, nobody on lineup. And honestly, nobody does. But somehow the Brewers are making things happen. There's Brewer fevers going on right now. That's what's going on. Closing in within a game and a half of the Cubs. And the Cubs right now are going through their lifeless stage. They were playing well for a while. Now they're up in Minnesota. They've lost 2 in a row where they just can't get out of their own way. And Craig's teams do that, where they just are just dead in the water. The Cubs take on the personality of Craig Counsell. And we've seen this with the Milwaukee Brewers. And it didn't hit me until last season when I saw Craig's teams down in Chicago kind of shiftless. Yeah, motionless. And I saw this Brewers team, with a little spark last year under Murphy. I think we got the better manager. Pat Murphy should be making $8 million a year. The Cubs got the wrong guy. Thank goodness they did, because Murphy, we'll talk about him in a little bit as well. But could he be headed for another Manager of the Year award? Now, I don't care about those postseason awards. Those who follow my podcast know that, but still, I mean, who's done a better job than Pat Murphy? Done so much with so little and doing some of the same things they did last year. And I'm not going to ruin it by saying, yeah, I know, October failures. I'm just enjoying this regular season so far. Holding the Dodgers to 4 runs in 3 games. Although Murphy alluded to this in his press conference. He goes, yeah, well, they're hurting too. They got guys out, certain guys out. They got Hernandez out. They got Edmund, who just came back today, and Muncy's out. How about all the guys the Brewers had out? Murphy, you should just sit up there. No, take credit for beating the Dodgers 3 in a row. You beat the LA Dodgers, who got that mega payroll, paying for anybody, and you knocked off their 2 closers there in the 9th and 10th innings. You were able to score runs. You were down 2-1. You scratched up a run in the bottom half of the 9th inning on 3 bloop singles. Andrew Vaughn coming through with the tying single. And then in the 9th, Jackson Chourio. Well, I'm surprised the Dodgers did not walk. Now, I know Churio's having a rough day, but there's a man at third and 1 out. When you think, well, let's walk Chourio, walk Yelich, and pitch to Isaac Collins. Have Isaac. You would rather live with Isaac Collins beating you than Jackson Chourio. I mean, if Isaac Collins beats you, then you just throw your arms up and say, "Oh, okay, I guess we're destined to lose this game." But he's pitching to Chourio with the bases open at first and second. And I don't care if Chourio struck out 50 times in his previous at bats. I ain't pitching to Chourio. Thank goodness the Dodgers weren't the World Series winning manager, Davey Roberts. I didn't call him Davey Nelson, did I before? Davey Roberts. Couldn't figure that out. Really, why wouldn't you walk him? Well, thank goodness. No one's bringing that up, but why would you dare pitch a Chourio in the 9th inning? And of course, he comes through. And that's just what the Brewers do. And Trevor McGill, who's now an all-star, said after the game, hey, that's Brewers baseball. That is. Be a believer in Brewers fever. Seems to me I've heard that song somewhere before. But yeah, Dodgers had guys out, but I'm relishing this. The Dodgers may have more talent. Now they paid for a lot of talent. And a guy like Mookie Betts is making $30 million a year. And he's batting about 247 and 11 home runs. What are you getting out of that, really? And I know he's had productive years before. Freddie Freeman hadn't been hitting well in the last month or so. He had a chance to come up. You know, you talk about the injuries. Freddie Freeman had bases loaded in the 7th inning, a chance to break that game open. And he bounced out to first base to end the inning. Bases loaded, and Freddie Freeman didn't get the job done. Kenny got him. So, you know, you still had one of your superstars there at the plate. Didn't come through. But that's the way the Brewers have been. The Brewers have been through. The Brewers just persevere. That's what the Brewers did in this series. The Dodgers may have more talent and paid for more talent, and they're trying to buy themselves a championship here, obviously, again. But the Brewers outplayed them. All right? The Brewers outplayed them in all 3 of those games. They out-hustled, they out-thought, they out-managed. They did everything to what the Dodgers did. The Dodgers, in their part, they were lifeless. They lost 6 in a row, and they looked lost. Brewers took advantage and won the game. Doing the little things. ABC baseball. Bloop, bloop, bloop. 4 hits through 8 innings. They come up with 3 hits in the 9th inning. Brewers baseball. I put out a tweet earlier today. Yeah, but I was watching the Cubs game. The Cubs were, again, Craig Counsell lifeless out there against Minnesota. And you could tell the Cubs had, they were on their way to a loss with that lineup of theirs. Their lineup, which I hear is so great all the time. That lineup couldn't do anything as some guy I never heard of was pitching for Minnesota today. So anyway, and I put out a tweet. I said the Brewers by next week will be in first place. They will surpass the Cubs. Oh, and all Cub fan coming after me. A Cub fan, don't worry about the Brewers. And they're calling the Brewers trash, and they're calling us garbage team and all that. 13 games over the 500 mark. Hey, finding a way to win. That's what we do as our sports teams in Wisconsin. Yeah, I know. No World Series championship, but finding a way. The Brewers still own this division. They're playing like that right now. I don't know what it took earlier in the year, what was going on. And remember the Brewers out of the chute against the Yankees. Remember how brutal they looked? Remember how tough, how that pitching staff, they were giving up a record amount of runs in the first, a major league record amount of runs in the first 3 games of the season. Who would have guessed that they would have turned it around and become the best pitching staff in baseball right now, or at least one of them? Jose Quintana does it again. 6 solid innings. You come after them with Mizorowski throwing the flames on Tuesday, and then the lefty Quintana just dazzles the Dodgers. What a great pickup. What a great pickup. And yeah, there's no doubt. Milwaukee Brewers. I wrote this down. I haven't checked the power polls, but the Brewers to me should be, when those polls come out this weekend, they should be listed as one of the top 5 or 6 teams in baseball. And I know some of you might laugh at that and say, well, you know, they're not one of the 5. Really? Name me a team they're not playing better than right now. Yeah, there's teams out there with better records, but the Brewers are playing some of the best baseball in baseball since Memorial Day, right? You don't want to none of these teams want to face the Brewers because the Brewers just nickel and dime you and they find a way to beat you. And when they lose, they come back with a vengeance. They don't stay down very long. They don't go through 6-game losing schemes like the Dodgers have. God, this team is, at one point early in the season, I wouldn't have said this, but this team is so easy to like. They're such a likable team and a fun team to watch. And this summer has been great, as I said at the top. And we got a big one ahead of us. Got the Cubs coming up here in a couple of weeks. Got to go there in August. Got Washington in town. So the Brewers are playing like this. I don't want an off day on Thursday. I want to go back out there. It was a beautiful night to be out there on Tuesday, and then a great day. 33,000 out there, I think it was, the attendance. So, all right, we come back. We'll talk about a couple of trade possibilities out there. Some of the names that have been floating out there. We'll get to that. Murphy, Manager of the Year, at the midway point at Major League Baseball of the season. I would say right now, yeah, he's Manager of the Year. There's no doubt about it. And that's just not drinking the Brewer Kool-Aid. We'll come right back after this here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. We're brought to you by Gametime. Gametime. If you want to go to the games this weekend against Washington, the Nats are in town. All right. It'll be a little easier getting tickets. The tickets won't be as expensive. If you buy them on Gametime, you get clear seat views, incredible last-minute deals. As I always say, that final hour or two before the opening tip or that first pitch, you get great tickets. Lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. 10% off exclusive zone deals for FIFA Club World Championship matchups, the Cup matchups. The seat views are in the app. Before you buy, you punch in your seat that you're interested in. It'll show you the view of where you are in regards to the batter's box or the stage if you're going to a concert. Concerts, theater, whatever. All the tickets, they're all on Gametime for everything. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off your first purchase, terms apply. So say you want to go to Friday night's game, download the app, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed with Gametime. All right, Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Before I go any further, hey everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're also available on all the audio platforms out there, all the podcast platforms. Go to Spotify, go to Apple. You know, you have an Apple app. If you have an Apple phone, Apple Podcast app, search Locked On Brewers, and we are there. Google, we're on all the platforms out there. We're the number one Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewers fans. And if you're already listening to us on a podcast platform, go to our growing YouTube page. Go to YouTube, sign into YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and that'll alert you every time we drop an episode. You come right into our beautiful Locked On Brewers studios. We drop an episode daily right here on Locked On Brewers, keeping you posted on Brewers baseball. Yeah, Murphy right now. I mean, who's done a better job than Pat Murphy in Major League Baseball? Not only last year during the regular season, but this year, first half of the season, they're within a game and a half of the Cubs. And even Joe Davis, the voice of the Dodgers, not exactly my favorite voice, doing national stuff. He's doing the Dodgers-Astros game on Saturday night. You could, for Fox TV, the national network, you could clearly tell that he's rooting for the Dodgers. But anyway, on his Dodger broadcast, he can do whatever he wants on his Dodger broadcast. But he was raving about the Brewers the other night, talking about how they've done so much with so little, spent $6 million in the offseason. And once again, the Brewers, here they are in a pennant race. Once again, been doing it since 2017, the Milwaukee Brewers. They've been pretty consistent. Yeah, I know we got to win a playoff series. But man, in the summer of fun that Mark Antanasio was talking about, and that really disgusted me when he said it, that, well, providing families with fun and entertainment. Is that my job, or to win a World Series? No, your job is to win a World Series and be competitive and play baseball like he did today. And, you know, he's got this team winning games, but it's still up to the Milwaukee Brewers to supplement this team, because other teams are going to get better through trades. A couple of names out there. Jose Ramirez with Cleveland. He's got a contract similar to Christian Yelich's. If I could spin a trade for Jose Ramirez to play third base for me, I would do it in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I don't know what it costs to get Ramirez away from Cleveland. If he's out of the market, I'll take him. I'll pay that guy $22 million, $25 million. Absolutely. Jose Ramirez, a gamer like that guy? Absolutely. Alec Bregman, his name was brought up. Yeah, I wanted him in the offseason. I ain't paying $40 million for that guy. No, I'm not swinging a trade for Alex Bregman. Now, that'd be a waste of money. But Jose Ramirez, if I could get Ramirez from Cleveland, those are a couple of names I just threw out there tonight. Bregman and Ramirez. Boston could be trading some guys. Cleveland could be traders as well, sellers. Ramirez would be my guy I'd want. Give me that guy. I'm not trading the farm for him, but I'd take Jose Ramirez on the Brewers. And that guy, hard-nosed, tough, he'd fit right in with this team. He'd fit right. Murphy would love this guy. Manager of the year, Pat Murphy, probably making $1.75 an hour managing this team, while the guy down the road, Craig Counsell, making $8 million a year. Brewers got the right manager. And at the midway point, when these networks, baseball networks out there, do their midseason awards, let me know if you find out that Pat Murphy did not win Manager of the Year for the midway point of Major League Baseball, because I want to know who's done a better job than Murphy. How do you like your Andrew Vaughn? I know we got to pause for poise on that. But if you look at all three of these games, he played an integral part in all three of these victories. He hit the 3-run blast in the first inning on Monday. Tuesday comes up with a defensive diving stab at first base on a ground out. It might have been a 2-run double, but he makes a stab that I don't think Rhys Hoskins gets to. And then in the 9th inning, big fella up there, blooping one to left field, base hit, tying the game. Not going for the downs, tying the game up in the 9th inning. Andrew Vaughn played a huge part, not only the pitching staff, but on offense and defense. 3 big moments for Andrew Vaughn. Now, I'm not saying I want to buy this guy at arbitration. It's not into a long-term contract. He is under team control. But I like what he's done so far. I'm going to bookmark it like we all should and come back to this someday. But I like what I've seen so far. It's only through 3 games. And I know what we like to do with some of our teams and some of our guys. We like to be all in. But Andrew Vaughn, I like his look. I love his comb over. I love him right now playing first base for the Milwaukee Brewers. Again, might have been a guy who just needed a change of scenery with the White Sox. Maybe get him out of that White Sox, that losing mentality over there, and get him around a winner. Yeah, a winner. The Milwaukee Brewers, one of the best regular season teams in baseball over the last 6 or 7 years, right? Can't take that away from them. But yeah, maybe that what he needed. He needed a change of scenery. Trevor McGill, I teased this a couple times. I gotta shut my window. A train is coming by. I live near train tracks, which the window closed here in the studio, but it's a beautiful night. I opened the window, thinking, for a half hour, maybe that train's not going to come by. And sure enough, 20 minutes into the podcast, and a 3-mile train is coming by. As I was saying, Trevor McGill getting added to the All-Star team. He should have made the All-Star team to begin with. And I've said this before. I know some of you guys get down on this guy a little bit, but man, he was amazing again. Look at some of the situations he's worked himself out of. He's gotten in some jams, but he's worked himself out of them. Only 3 blown saves. These guys aren't perfect. Trevor McGill, every bit deserves to be an All-Star. Should have been an All-Star, actually, to begin with. The more I thought about it, it's like, yeah, he should have been an All-Star to begin with. So when he was added to the All-Star game, we should have been, the All-Star team should have been surprised. I was like, interesting. Trevor McGill getting added to the All-Star team. Yeah, he should be in the All-Star team. In fact, he should have been in there when they made those announcements on Sunday. Absolutely. Overlook his season. He was electric again. He's been in big spots. And you look at all the Brewer relievers over the years who've gone to the All-Star game. The last 3 closers of the Brewers have Hader, Williams, and now Trevor McGill. All right. We come back. Brewers made a minor move. We'll check out the NL Central and come see what's brewing. All that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And with OpenPhone, they're a new sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Anytime you miss a call, you independent contractors out there especially, man, you know what it's like. It's like, there's business right out the window. If that first plumber doesn't answer, let's say you're making a call and you're trying to get a plumber, that first plumber doesn't answer, you move to the next guy. And the next guy, the next guy. You don't want to miss a call if you're a business. That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system. Helps you streamline and scale customer communications, all from an app, either on your phone or on your computer. Right now, OpenPhone is offering Locked On Brewers listeners 20% off your first 6 months. OpenPhone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers, let's say, you're the guy who carries 16 phones in his pocket. Well, if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will gladly port them over at no charge whatsoever. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. And again, you guys are out there doing your independent businesses. You don't want to miss a phone call. Missing phone calls is leaving money on the table. Get the OpenPhone, OpenPhone.com/LockedOnMLB. And Locked On Brewers listeners, 20% off your first 6 months at OpenPhone.com. Down the stretch we come here on Locked On Brewers. Quick note, Rob Manfred, I saw just before coming on to this podcast late Wednesday night, says there's a report out there that he wants to get a salary cap in place by 2027. The labor deal expires December of 2026. Last time we did this in 1994, Bud Selig chickened out, and the World Series was canceled in 94, and eventually he gave in to the Players Association. The Players Association, the toughest union, or one of the toughest unions in all of our country, they are not going to be happy when they hear the news that Rob Manfred wants a salary cap. And as you know, a salary cap would greatly benefit a team like the Milwaukee Brewers. And you know what? All the player representatives of each and every team is going to vote that they do not want the salary cap. Even the Brewers representative, because they're going to go along with the union take on that. All right, the Brewers made a minor move with the Dodgers. Stuart Baroa, a minor league outfielder, saw some action with Toronto last year. Baroa, 28 games with the Jays last year, batted at 189. The Brewers got him for some cash. And as a result, to make room for him on the 40-man, they DFA'd Elvin Rodriguez, who's a home run giving up machine, pitched on opening day. Hard to believe that guy pitched on opening day. We've come so far since opening day. And finally, they DFA Elvin Rodriguez. Apparently, they loved him because he had 4 pitches or whatever. The guy was giving up home runs left and right. I said on opening day he was over his head to begin with, and sure enough, your boy Freems turned out to be right. Our Cubs lost. They've lost 2 in a row in Minnesota. Twins go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon. Going to be watching that game. Brewers have the day off. Got Washington at 53-40. Brewers now, that looks beautiful, isn't it? When you open up your app and you take a look at the NL Central standings, you see the Brewers a game and a half behind the Cubs. We're coming for you. St. Louis 5.5 out, and Cincinnati 7.5 out. And the Brewers open up a series with Washington. Nationals just fired their manager and their GM over the weekend. Martinez and Rizzo both got fired. They're 38-54. They were playing well earlier in the year, but Washington, who trounced St. Louis on Wednesday night, they'll come in here. Don't have who their pitchers are going to be yet. They were listed at TBA, but I can tell you the Brewers are going with Priester on Friday, Woodruff on Saturday, Peralta on Sunday. Who gets moved to the bullpen when Cortez gets activated? Someone's going to have to. Cortez isn't going. Remember what happened last time he pitched out of the bullpen with the Yankees? He gave that grandy to Freddie Freeman in the World Series last year. Cortez was not happy about being moved to the bullpen with New York last year, but he's interesting. We'll see what the Brewers do on that. Maybe we'll have a decision this weekend. We'll see how Cortez, he's got a rehab start, I believe, today in Appleton. It's going to do it. Locked On Brewers. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Locked On Brewers. Ran into you, few Brewer fans on the way to the ballpark again tonight, this afternoon. Beautiful day in Milwaukee. We'll see you out there this weekend. I'll be out there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Brewers baseball, the Nationals. You see me, stop and say hello by all means. And please follow me on Twitter as well. Chuck Freeman, Freimund. Follow me on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it. And always, if you want to ask me a question about the Brewers, whatever it is, I will always, I give you my promise, I will always get back to you. May not be immediately, but I will get back to you. If you want to Facebook friend me, go ahead. I don't care. Facebook friend me. You want to ask me a question? We could have a convo about the Milwaukee Brewers. You want to ask me a question about what's going on with the franchise or anything? Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to you. Again, sometimes I don't check those right away or whatever. I'm away from my phone, but I will definitely get back to you. And by the way, again, our podcast, you get it, please. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subs on YouTube. We started this at a couple of hundred subs. We're working it up close to 5,000 now in 2 years. So please go to YouTube. When you sign in, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, and that'll alert you every time we drop the episode on Locked On Brewers. Until then, everybody, have yourself a great Thursday. This is Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.